The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Sunday morning, February 22nd, 2026. I'm Will Sterling, coming to you from the bunker. The rustic barn studio in Maine, where the wind is currently trying to redesign the landscape at 70 miles per hour. It's a solid show today, a crucial show, because while the snow is burying the Northeast, the ruling class is trying to bury the truth, and we're here to dig it out. I'm sitting here fiddling with this fishing lure, looking at the sharp end of it and wondering, what is going on here?
It's a heavy morning, Will. The physical world is reflecting the psychological turmoil we're seeing in the headlines. Roughly speaking, when the infrastructure of the world begins to buckle under the weight of reality, you have to look at the architecture of the individual. It's no joke, man. We've been hit by Winter Storm Hernando, and it's a chaos dragon of an atmospheric event.
Really, think about it. 35 million Americans under blizzard warnings? According to Fox Weather, this is the first time New York City has seen a warning like this in almost a decade.
Well, that's the thing. It's a bomb clone. Rapid cyclogenesis. The pressure drops so quickly it creates a vacuum that pulls in the cold resentment of the Arctic. It's dumping 24 inches of snow across the I-95 corridor. Visibility is below a quarter mile, and the grid is failing because we've spent years obsessing over digital safety while the physical roads decay. It makes me want to weep for the youth who don't even have the traditional competence to handle a shovel.
Right? The same ruling class that says they can manage the temperature of the planet in the year 2100 can't even clear the drifts in a Brooklyn cul-de-sac. They want to manage your car and your stove, but they're telling 35 million people, good luck, hope you have a generator. They hate you, Walter. They want you dependent on a system that can't handle a heavy frost.
It's the hubris of the technological elite. But it's not just the weather. Roughly speaking, the decay is everywhere. It's in the streets of Tucson right now. Day 21 of the search for Nancy Guthrie.
Okay.
84 years old, Savannah Guthrie's mother. She disappeared from her home in the Catalina foothills, and the scene investigators found, it's the ultimate violation of the sanctuary. Bloodstains on the front porch. The Nest doorbell camera ripped out of the wall. It's the manifestation of pure, unadulterated chaos entering the ordered space of an elderly woman.
What is going on here? Really, 21 days and 0 sightings?
Right, and the evidence it's bloody chilling. The FBI has footage of a suspect, a masked male, approx 5'10", wearing a handgun holster and carrying an Ozark Trail backpack. That's a Walmart brand, Will. It's common. But his behavior wasn't. He used tree branches to hide from the neighbors' cameras. He knew where the blind spots were. Shut up! It's no joke. And they found a glove 2 miles away with DNA on it, but it's not returning a match in the CODIS database, which means this person is a ghost in the system. An FBI veteran told the press, this looks personal. Roughly speaking, someone mapped her life and decided to delete her from the world. It's the breakdown of the social contract. If an 84-year-old isn't safe on her porch, then the architecture of our safety is a lie.
Literally, they want you to feel that vulnerability while they focus on global threats. And speaking of global threats, look at how they treat a real hero, Jimmy Lai, 87 years old, media tycoon in Hong Kong.
No. This is a catastrophe of the soul.
He could have left. He's a billionaire. He stayed to fight for the values that made Hong Kong great. And on February 9th, they sentenced him to 20 years in prison. 20 years for colluding with foreign forces. At 78, he's wearing a heart monitor in his cell.
Right. It's the devouring mother archetype in the form of the CCP. I gave you the economy, and if you dare to be an individual, I will consume you. It's a death sentence in all but name. And the UK Foreign Secretary says she raised concerns. Roughly speaking, that's like trying to put out a forest fire with a glass of water.
Exactly. They're mocking us. Marco Rubio is calling it unjust, and it is, but the ruling class in D.C. has spent decades letting China build this machine. They hate you because Jimmy Lai represents the version of freedom they want to bury here too, and they're using technology to do it.
Well, that's the transition to the OpenAI failure. Roughly speaking, the move fast and break things ethos is now breaking lives.
This Tumbler Ridge story, it's the smoking gun.
It's a tragedy that didn't have to happen. 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar. He carried out a mass shooting at his high school in British Columbia. And now we find out it's bloody unbelievable. OpenAI's internal safety systems flagged his account 8 months ago.
8 months!
They saw graphic scenarios involving gun violence in his prompts. And leaked documents to the Wall Street Journal showed they decided the threat wasn't imminent enough to override their privacy protocols. They acted like unregulated digital therapists. They engage with these broken young men. They provide the emotional infrastructure for their darkness, and then they choose protocol over human life.
They want the power of a god, but the responsibility of a toaster. If a doctor hears a patient plan a shooting, they have a duty to report. But Sam Altman and his crew, they just say, well, the data was inconclusive. What is going on here? We're building super intelligence that's too stupid or too legally insulated to call the police.
Right. It's a failure of being. Truly, we're sacrificing our youth to the algorithm while the corporate masters hide behind their privacy shields. But we have to keep our focus on the real builders, like the man who made this network possible.
Literally, they looked at a woman who threatens people with a machete and said, yes, this is the person we want deciding who gets the money and the prestige. Why are they doing this?
Well, it's the institutionalization of resentment. You take someone who is actively destructive, who manifests the very worst of human pathology, and you put them in a position of authority over the beautiful. Roughly speaking, the machete is seen as a legitimate tool of political expression by these people. It's the complete erosion of common sense standards. It's no joke.
They hate you. They want you to see this and feel like you're the crazy one. It's the same pothole theater they're running in California. Gavin Newsom is backing a bill to ban social media for kids under 16, but the fiscal state is falling apart.
Right, Assembly Bill 1709. Newsom frames this as parental help. He's at the Munich Security Conference talking about digital safety. And meanwhile, the mayor of Los Angeles is doing photo ops, filling a single pothole. One pothole.
In a city with thousands of them.
Roughly speaking, it's a distraction. It's easier to go to Munich and talk about the chaos dragon of social media than it is to fix the literal infrastructure of your own state. The California dream is becoming a governance nightmare because the leaders have forgotten how to pave a road while they chase the global limelight.
Exactly. And while the roads have holes, the federal budget has a crater. Walter, did you see the Doge Medicaid report? Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy just dropped the data bomb.
This is the transparency we've been waiting for.
They open-sourced 7 years of provider-level claims data, and within hours, independent analysts scanning just 0.16% of the providers identified $90 billion in likely fraud.
Okay.
$90 billion from less than 1%. They found the Minnesota autism scheme, where shell companies billed for fabricated therapies. For decades, the government said finding this fraud was too complex. It was a needle in a haystack. And then a few guys with laptops and AI filters find the whole needle factory in a weekend.
Well, that's the thing. It shows you that the complexity was just a mask for corruption. The ruling class didn't want to find the fraud because the fraud was the business model. Roughly speaking, when you open the data to the meritocracy, the shadows disappear, but the money isn't just being stolen, it's running out. According to the CBO report released yesterday, the Social Security Trust Fund is on track for insolvency by 2032. 2032, that's only 6 years away, and that triggers an automatic 23% benefit cut. If you're a retiree counting on $2,000 a month, you'll lose $500 overnight. And the actuary confirmed that one big, beautiful bill they passed last July, it actually accelerated the depletion.
What is going on here? They gave people a tiny tax deduction so they could justify bankrupting the whole system 6 years early?
It's the devouring mother in policy form, providing the short-term comfort of a tax cut while the foundation of the house is being sold for parts. It's no joke. We're consuming the seed corn. And the right to repair fight in Maine, it's the same thing. The governor vetoes a bill that would let you fix your own car because she wants to protect the corporate data monopoly.
Literally, they want you dependent for your transportation, dependent for your retirement, and dependent for your news. They hate you. But there is a countermove, and it's the main story of the show, the battle for the tariffs.
Friday afternoon, 6-3 ruling in the Supreme Court, Learning Resources, Inc. versus Trump. Chief Justice Roberts wrote the majority opinion, joined by the 3 liberals and Trump appointees, Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett.
Okay.
They ruled that the president cannot use the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA, to unilaterally slap on global tariffs. The media was dancing on his grave, Walter. The Guardian was headline screaming that the tariff agenda was invalidated. The elites thought they finally used the separation of powers to kneecap the American worker.
Right. It was seen as a massive institutional check on executive power.
But think about it. They forgot who they're dealing with. Within hours, the administration pivoted to Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. He didn't even slow down. He just changed the legal header on the order and kept the tariffs moving.
Right. He found the plan B.
Exactly. Kavanaugh's dissent was the roadmap. Kavanaugh basically whispered, hey, you just checked the wrong statutory box. Use the trade law authority for balance of payments deficits, not the emergency law. And Trump did it. And now the elites are losing their minds because their monumental legal victory lasted about as long as a Maine summer.
But Will, roughly speaking, isn't there a deep psychological danger here? If the court says no to one authority and the executive just pivots to another, doesn't that undermine the architecture of our laws? We have to discuss the separation of powers. It's bloody complicated.
What separation of powers, Walter? The ones that allowed $90 billion in fraud? The ones that let the border stay open for 3 years? The ruling class only loves checks and balances when it's a check on your prosperity. When they want to spend $100 billion on a foreign war, suddenly the separation of powers is very flexible. Why are they doing this now? Because tariffs actually work.
Right. But the legal scholars are arguing that Section 122 is meant to be a temporary measure for large and serious deficits. It's not meant to be a global, permanent wall. We have to look at the rules of the game here. If we ignore the spirit of the law to get the result we want, are we any better than the postmodern neo-Marxists who do the same thing?
We're better because we're fighting for the American people, not the CCP or the cartels. AOC is at the Munich Security Conference right now, trying to undermine the president on the world stage. She's basically telling world leaders to ignore the U.S. government. Who's the chaos agent there, Walter? Is it the guy trying to fix the trade deficit, or the congresswoman acting like a shadow secretary of state?
It's a battle for institutional legacy. It's like the controversy over refusing honors for the late Jesse Jackson. The media frames it as mean-spirited, but the administration says it's a populist correction against a specific political era. Roughly speaking, we're rewriting the history of who we honor as we rebuild the economy. But the tariffs will, if this triggers a global retaliation, what happens to the worker then? What worker? The one who hasn't had a raise in 20 years because his job was shipped to Mexico? The World Trade System they're so worried about is the same system that gave 78-year-old Jimmy Lai a 20-year sentence. I say burn it down. If the rules of the game mean we lose and the CCP wins, then the game is rigged and we need a new deck.
Well, that's the heroic pivot. It's the refusal to be paralyzed by a system that has become pathological. Kavanaugh saw the roadmap. He saw that the president has the authority. He just needed to cite the right line of the code. It shows that even inside the court, there is a faction that understands the transactional realism of the modern world.
Right. And Gorsuch and Barrett, they look like they were part of the D.C. consultant class on Friday. They voted with the liberals. Think about it. These are the originalists who suddenly found a reason to stop the president from taxing foreign imports. It's a 5-alarm fire for the populist movement.
Well, it shows that the architecture of the state is designed to protect itself from change. Roughly speaking, the system has an immune response to anything that threatens the flow of global capital. It's no joke, man. The court is a temple of the old order, but the Section 122 move is a way of bypassing the priest class and going straight to the statute.
Exactly. And it proves that the ruling class actively hates the listener. They want you to think that the Supreme Court saved democracy on Friday, but all they did was try to make your groceries more dependent on a supply chain that's currently freezing in the Atlantic. What is going on here?
Right. We're entering a period of maximum volatility. The bomb cloud outside is a perfect metaphor for the political atmosphere. We're in the middle of rapid cyclogenesis, and the pressure is dropping every hour.
I'm fiddling with this lure, and I'm ready to catch something. We've got $90 billion in fraud, a 78-year-old martyr in Hong Kong, and a president who just checked the different box to keep the elite's head spinning.
Roughly speaking, we have to stay grounded in the truth, because the truth is the only thing that doesn't blow away in a 70-mile-per-hour wind. We have to clean our rooms, Will, and then we have to clean the house.
We're cleaning it. That's our show for today. Stay safe in the storm, keep your generators fueled, and your eyes on the plan B, because the ruling class is never going to stop trying to box you in.
Be a hero in your own life. It's the only way through the architecture of chaos, bloody cold as it is.
They hate you, but we're here. This is the Neural Right, your daily dose of common sense in a crazy world. We'll see you tomorrow if we're not buried in 3 feet of snow. Good luck, everyone. Keep your house.